Good morning and welcome back. Well, I shouldn't say good morning. Never mind. I don't know where you are. Greetings and welcome back to the DroneOCan YouTube channel. You know, I love it sometimes when a video idea just falls into your lap and you end up getting some content that you didn't expect that you'd be able to make. The downside of it is sometimes you don't know you're in the middle of a video idea until you're in the middle of it, and then that means you've lost half of the content. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying that we're out here and we are exploring a number of historic Texas schoolhouses. Some one room, some bigger. I'll give you a rundown on some of the ones that we have seen already. We've missed two of them that I didn't film while we were there, but I have photos to show you. And this one here we are at is known as Nebgen or Nebgen. I'm going to say Nebgen, but you know, the locals can correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The Nebgen Schoolhouse. And let's go take a look at it, and I'll read a little bit about the history of it as we go. So this particular schoolhouse was built in 1936. And we actually missed the turnoff for this one. There is a sign on the main road, or what qualifies as a main road, but we missed the sign, and then we parked, got as far as the gate. The gate had a padlock but wasn't locked, so we've decided we're okay to walk in here and check it out. Now, we're not going to have time to do the entire tour. There's like 14 schools on this tour of Texas schoolhouses. We're only going to have time to visit about 4, maybe 5, I think. But this is one here that had a pavilion and stage. And this, while being a more modern looking structure, actually does date back to the era of the schoolhouse. And they would often have celebrations out here at the end of the school year. With a barbecue and some, you know, a play and some things like that. So this was a real community hub, as these small schools often were. And being that it's a bit of a community center, some nice looking washrooms there. Don't know if they're open or not. We went at the last school, so don't really need to do anything here. It just was getting you waving at us from the door. Okay, good. Nothing scary in the closet so far. Nope. Nothing scary at all. But you never know what's going to come walking, crawling, or flying out of these. Here's a photo of the school from doesn't have a year, but obviously from an earlier time when the school wasn't in as good a condition as it was today. And some other historical photos. Give you a little look around inside here. He even has an air conditioner. Betcha that's not original, back to the 30s. So this is kind of embarrassing as I'm going through and editing this footage. I realized I never really did get good footage of the outside of the school. I showed you the inside, but not the outside. So here's the outside. So let me take you back through the two schools that I didn't record video at. First one that started this entire odyssey / journey was the Willow City School, which is actually a larger 2-story sandstone school built in 1905. It was while at that school and hunting for the geocache, I found the brochure, which I'll show you in a second, that listed about 4 or 5 different drives that highlight the historic schools of Gillespie County. So that's kind of what started the adventure, and that's where we kind of started, was in Willow City, Texas. So let's get back on the road, head for the next school on our little tour, and I can fill you in on that one when we get there. Well, I'll fill you in on that one and the second one that we missed when we get there. And in keeping with the DroneOCan rules of exploration, if you find it locked or closed when you got there, make sure it's in the same state when you leave. Don't leave things open. Okay, so I had promised you when we got to this school I would update you on the second school that I missed filming at. That was Rheingold School. Now, the really big highlight of Rheingold School wasn't even the school itself. It comes down to the fact it still has the original 1891 teacherage on the school property. The school itself was a little bit later than that. I don't remember the exact year. I'll post it on the video here, but the teacherage was quite interesting, dating from 1891. And now we have arrived at Cave Creek School. So there's a couple of different sources here. They kind of contradict themselves a little bit, and I'll tell you what I mean as we walk over here. Duck underneath that. So here's where our sources differ a little bit. According to the brochure, which has been our guide thus far here, the Gillespie County Schools Driving Trails, according to it, the school was built in 1891. Now, the chimney here, if I scroll up, way up, says 1896, so 5 years later. So I don't know, maybe the chimney was built in 1896, maybe replacing one that was built originally with the school in 1891. If I can get signal here, I'm going to check the National Register of Historic Places and see what it says, since that should be the more definitive answer. Okay, so I didn't find the official listing on the National Register of Historic Places, but the link that I found to the Wikipedia article says it was added to the National Register in 2004, but the school was built from 1891. So I'm assuming that 1896 date is just relating to the chimney. And there we go. I found the geocache. I'm just making my way out of this thorny area, keeping an eye out for fire ants, snakes, chiggers, alligators, crocodiles, camels. I don't know what else I may find. Not familiar with all the local wildlife hazards in the area, so basically I just assume everything's out to kill me. So, having now wandered around and looked at the grounds, it's time to actually see the inside. And as has been a theme on the schools that we've gotten inside, only the one at Willow City was locked and inaccessible. They have been clearly maintained and well kept up for use as community centers, but they still retain a large portion of their historic school charm, right down to the chalkboards, the old wooden stoves sitting here. Interesting on this one, and I don't know if this is just a product of a renovation or anything like that, there's no stovepipe on this one. And there's no indication on the ceiling either where a stovepipe would have exited. Although now that I think about it, I lied. It didn't go out through the roof. It went out through the wall, which we clearly can see here and was evidenced by that chimney outside. So yes, the stovepipe would have come out of there, assuming that's where the stove was originally located, and ran out through the wall there. So never mind, false alarm. I didn't, or I just didn't pay close enough attention when I came in. Also interesting, and again, I don't know if this is original. I don't remember a school with 3 doors. This is the one I came in that I believe would be facing to the west. There's this one here that would be southwest. And then this one here is on the east side. So 3 doors. Again, not sure if that's original or not. And I'm assuming Emily signed us into the register. She did, but failed to put the website on there. I don't like self-promotion, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. DanoCan.com. Speaking of self-promotion, I don't do this often, but if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I'd really appreciate it if you did. We are just shy of getting to the 2,000 subscriber mark, which is a number beyond what I ever thought we would achieve, but it would be nice to get there and to continue to see the channel grow. So yeah, I know it's stereotypical YouTube stuff that I don't like to do, but please subscribe if you haven't already. And like the other schools, or a lot of the other schools we've seen, this one also has really nice pavilion here and a stage area for community events, lights, fans. There must be a really strong community in this area. All right, off we go. And duck again so I don't hit the old noggin on that. Off we go to the next one.